Welcome everyone to Philanos' Comms Club. And this is an interactive meeting of marketing and communications representatives of the Philanos communications team and Philanos affiliate members like you who are working in this area. Comms Club is designed to help us all learn from each other and is very informal. I'm Virginia Mills, a co-founder of Philanos and a member of Giving Women in Minneapolis. My communications co-chair is Buffy Bedoin-Schwartz from Women's Giving Circle of Howard County, which is between Maryland and DC. She's also the ED of the Women's Giving Circle, having been a founder of the organization almost 20 years ago. So she has come full circle. We also have on the call today our social media guru, Chloe Manduano, who is in Mexico City, who has been the organizing and executing force behind our social media efforts. Before we start, please put your name and your affiliate in the chat so we know who everyone is. And as you know, as I said, this is a casual learn and ask format. We take questions when they appear in the chat and can be addressed, but also don't be shy about asking and there is no such thing as a dumb question. We can't know it all. And also, if you can answer questions that are being posed, we welcome your input because everybody has good experiences. And lastly, note that this is being recorded and will be available in a few days. Freely pass it along to your colleagues when it arrives in your mailbox. And should this conversation spur any new thoughts from you on what you'd like us to talk about in the future, our next call is April 6th. Please add that to the chat as well. We're here to help. Buffy, what are we talking about today?
Thanks. Well, it's good to see everyone today. And, we started the year, as we were talking about with our more structured webinars, with a really good webinar that was titled The Value of Telling Our Story to Our Members and to prospective members, partners, the media, policymakers, and the broader community. So how are our giving circles doing that? And we thought for our first Comms Club of the year that we would take a step back and kind of talk about how all of us are organizing to set ourselves up for success in order to tell our stories consistently, effectively, so that, all of these constituencies know what we're doing. So we invited all of you, all of our Philanos affiliates, to not only join us today, but to share anything that you're working on that can help all of us learn what we're doing in working and organizing ourselves. So thanks to all of you who both came today and shared information and slides for us to review and then talk about and ask questions on. So we thought we'd start today by providing a little bit of background about what we're doing at Philanos to organize ourselves and our communications efforts. And by way of background, we went through a strategic planning process last year, and we're tying our communications efforts into that strategic plan. And so that's one way we're organizing. And that includes our social media focus, which again is run by Chloe, who's now going to provide us with a little bit of background about how we're organizing at Philanos to tell our collective story.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chloe Mandujano, based in Mexico City. I'm very happy to join you today. So if this is, if you don't know where to start with your social media, because I know that sometimes it's a lot of information, different platforms, different formats, I think where you can start when you want to tell your stories, first of all, set a calendar with the important things that you want to share, the important stories you want to tell to everyone. It can also be related to specific dates or that you want to celebrate with everyone, your giving circle and your network. And once you have your calendar, you can start posting regularly. It doesn't matter at the beginning which platform you're going to use, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn. As long as you post on a regular basis, it's a very good starting point for people to find you and read about your stories, your news, or anything related to your giving circle. Another important thing that you should do is always use your logo and branding colors. This is a good way visually for people to identify who you are or to recognize you on social media. And this will give you some character that you can develop in your aesthetics. So those are the most basic tips for every platform that you're gonna use. Next slide, please. So this is an example of how a calendar can look like. This is also related to one of the tools. So the main tools that we use at Philanos are Canva, which is very useful for all your graphics, to edit your pictures in very different formats. You can also do some videos if you are that advanced. And then we use this tool called ClickUp. So ClickUp is a calendar where you can set all the posts that you're working on for the different platforms. This is where we gather all the graphics. This is also where we write together the captions. And we just set different status for all the posts. So if we're working on it, if there's a graphic missing, if there's a caption missing, if someone has a better idea and want to comment, so we can just edit the post. And when it's all finished, we just approve it, and someone is, or the person who's delegated to post the social media post can schedule it or post it. So when you start having a calendar like us, where we post almost daily, sometimes more than once a week, it's very difficult to keep track of all your posts. So if you want to be more organized and be able to schedule ahead, there's different tools for all the platforms for you to do that in advance. For example, if you're only using Facebook and Instagram, you can use the Facebook platform and their planning or just calendar tool, which is in their application. And that's where you can schedule the post ahead. You can do that once, 1 week ahead, month ahead. You can decide the date and the time. So this is very useful when you have a lot of posts to do. Another great tool is TwitterDeck, which is only dedicated for Twitter. For LinkedIn, you can use Buffer, Hootsuite. There's a lot of them. But if you only start with Facebook or Twitter, it's already a very good start. So this is for the tools. And last will be how to share all your posts and stories. The most important thing is to follow your community members, sponsors, nonprofit partners, or people in your community, because once you follow them, they know in which platform you're present, and they will follow you back, which is usually what it's done for everyone. Another very good thing to stay alive in the social media platforms is to like, save, share, comment on all the posts related to your giving circle, to your community, but also to any kind of account or inspirational person that you relate to, or that is related to your giving circle goals or things that interest your giving circle. So this is also a way for people to find out about you. Maybe someone that doesn't know you, if you comment or if you like or if you share, they'll be curious and be like, oh, who is this person? Maybe we have something in common. I have to check them out. Or maybe I can reach out actually and do something with them. So this is why saving and sharing is so important. A last thing that can be very useful is to track your results monthly or every 4 months, to share with your team, to see which posts have been more successful, which one have gathered more likes, which ones have also given you more clicks on your website. And so this is very important because you can start to read how your audience is reacting to your story. So if you're communicating well, people might be more inclined to like, share, and save your post. But if some posts are a little bit flaky, or maybe they're just not focused enough, they might need a little bit of extra work. And this is where you will see that on your results. And that's why it's important to see them or discuss them with your team at the end of the month. And these ones, you can also find them on each platform. So for Facebook, it will be on Facebook. For Twitter, it will be on the Twitter analytics part, on LinkedIn as well. And yeah, we encourage you to look at them because this is a great feedback for you to improve how to tell your story, your graphics, or your captions on your social media in particular. So if you have any questions, drop them in. I'll read them and I can get back to you. Or if someone wants to jump in and have something to ask.
Chloe, I have a question. This
Yes.
is Sharon Schweitzer. On the ClickUp, is that a free application, or do you subscribe to that?
So there is a free version. If you're a very small giving circle, or if you're starting to just posting like a few times a week, you can use that platform for free. There will be a time where they will say that you don't have any more space if you're uploading too many graphics or writing so much posts. So once you start growing and you find this tool useful, you can upgrade. I don't remember the details about the upgrade. I think Nancy will be able to tell us about that. But you can start using the free version, which is already very useful. You can write, you can put graphics on it, you can put several people working on it as well. So I encourage you to try it. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a great question, Sharon, because sorry, Nancy, go ahead.
Real quick, most of the technology I've found is, yes, there's a free version, but there's also discounts for nonprofits. So you might have to dig, but we've found a lot of the technology that Philanos uses. We've gotten free or significantly discounted versions, which ClickUp was.
And I was just going to say, you know, we at Philanos started using it free. And then we, like Chloe said, we got to a point where we were using it more and more. We were comfortable with it. We liked it. And then we decided, because we started free and almost like a trial period, that it was worth the investment to upgrade it so we could continue to use it and enhance it.
Have you found that communicating too much becomes detrimental, or what's a good amount of touches per week, I guess?
I think communicating too much is never too much. It just depends if it's the same content. If it's the same content too many times, then yes. But if your content is like very diverse, if you have news, if you have an event to share, if you have goals that you have achieved to share. So as long as your content is diverse, that's the most important part, and it won't be overwhelming for your audience.
Chloe, can you explain real quick, like reels and stories, some of those types of posts are only visible for a short period of time?
Okay, yes. So for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, there's something called stories. These posts are only available for 24 hours. You can use them as much as you want because they're so short. And they're also a very good way for catch a different kind of audience that doesn't really scroll through those applications, and they want to just see what's going on in the right now. They're very useful because you can post them. That's where you can post the same kind of content every day because it's so short, and the audience will vary. Once they have seen it, they won't see it again most of the time. And it's also very good if, for example, you want to give a little bit of a push to a certain post for people to subscribe, or for people to join you on a webinar that's happening in less than 24 hours. I think that's a very good tool. So those ones only last 24 hours. The reels, however, they last 1 minute and they stay on your feed. These ones we've started using them, I think, in December and November with Philanos. And they're very engaging because they go beyond your audience. If you use a hashtag, or if you use mostly the hashtags. So the reels will be available for everyone on the platform, or the social media platform. In this case, it's Instagram. They will be able to see the reel, even if they're not following you, or even if they're not part of your community, because maybe the hashtag is related to something they're interested in. So reels are very useful to just gather or find or allow people to find you without knowing that you exist, because your content might be more appealing in a video version as well. So you can play with it. It's a lot of fun. 1 minute video is not very long and it's easy. You can also do it shorter, 30 seconds, if you have something like fun that you want to share about your giving circle.
So that's good. It sounds like it's good for awareness purposes then, building awareness and brand recognition.
Yes, that works very well. I mean, Reels I think it's even more, it allows for more creativity, and it's also, I think people is more inclined to react for videos. And yeah, I mean, they have a lot of success. The ones that we've posted, they have like, after 1 week, more than 800 people have seen them, and the follows have increased. So yeah, they're really effective.
That's what I was going to say. We're all at Philanos getting used to videotaping quick clips of ourselves. Some of us, it doesn't come natural, but we've been doing it. And as Chloe said, it's really been making a difference. People are, attracted to kind of a quick virtual statement of someone talking.
Where is the platform for that?
You can use them everywhere, actually.
Okay.
What's that?
What is it? How do you? Is it reels.com, or how do you access it?
The Reels, it's a format for the Instagram platform.
Instagram. Okay. All right.
But you can
put video on any.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Karen, if you
Yeah.
took a video clip of yourself right now with your phone, you could take that and put it on any social media platform. You could put it on Facebook, you could put Twitter,
Okay.
Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever you're using.
Okay, so I don't have to go to a separate website
No.
or anything like that. Okay,
No.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, great, Chloe. Thank you. I mean, really, the work that, from our strategic plan, this is exactly what we wanted to be doing, and your efforts in guiding Philanos to be kind of consistent, branded, having our messaging, kind of consistent to tell our story and the story for all of our affiliates. And our network has been very successful the last year, and the numbers really show it. So thank you for your efforts, and thanks for providing this context for everybody today. And now we thought we would talk a little bit, hear from all of us, all of you here about some of the work that you're doing. So Jennifer, do you want to let us know what's going on with Impact San Antonio?
Sure. I'm Jennifer Bennett, just most immediate past president. We now have a new president this year, so I get to step back and be the wise elder. With me today, I've got two members of our board, Sharon Schweitzer and Karen Davis, who are responsible for our marketing and communications program. We wanted to share how we approach the marketing and digital work strategically each year as a planning device, and then share some of the tactics that we use to communicate out to our members and prospects, both members and agencies. So Sharon, I will let you frame how we do this.
Thank you. I think Chloe said it all, so I'm just going to pass the baton. But what you're seeing is the next couple slides, you'll see are sections from a digital marketing plan that we've been developing since last summer. We felt that without an infusion of huge capital to help us raise our profile, that and which we wouldn't use in this way, we would pour that into our grants, is that we were going to have to be more strategic and to be more dedicated to our digital platforms and our digital presence. So we began to develop the digital marketing plan. So any good comm plan always starts with the vision, mission, and the values of an organization. It's operational goals. And so our goal with the digital marketing plan was to grow our awareness, our brand awareness and engagement on all of our digital channels. And we want, each year we have to recruit new members as well as returning members. So we're always in kind of the recruitment mode, and we want to maintain and improve our member retention, because the more members we retain, the easier it is to meet our goals of 550 plus memberships, so that we can award $500,000 in total grants, $100,000 grant in each of our focus areas. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So as part of that, in our tactical focus, is that we needed to know who we were talking to and what audiences we needed to reach out to. They always start with our current members. We always want to communicate with our agencies, our previous grant recipients, as well as prospective grant recipients. And part of our effort to build our identity as a thought leader on women in philanthropy, we are targeting or trying to target elected officials, influencers, media, and philanthropic boards and philanthropists. We also have an aspirational audience, because as we look at the demographics of our organization, we want to be more diverse. We live in a very diverse community in San Antonio, and we want to be more diverse than we were. And we're beginning to see some of the fruits of that now. And we also want to appeal a little more to women between 30 and 54, because we certainly don't want to age out our organization. So that's an aspirational audience as well. And so when we go to select content in these areas, we look for content and curate content that we think will have an appeal for these segments. And the last slide is just kind of there's one more slide, is that we developed a digital brand voice and standards for each of our platforms. We did it for Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We do have other platforms, but these are the ones where we feel like we need to be the most present. And Karen's going to talk a lot about Facebook, but we wanted, since we were a volunteer organization and volunteers change over, we felt it was important to have some kind of a standards so that when we recruit a new member to do our posting for Facebook or posting for Instagram or LinkedIn, they have an idea of what they're trying to reach. And so we felt that this was kind of an important sort of playbook for them to have as we move forward. So our goal is always to try to engage the Army, enable the Army of engaged. In other words, the people that love us, we want them to like, share, and comment about our content so that we are in other conversations on their networks. Agencies and the media and our aspirational audiences and the community. So we wanted to have an editorial charter and a goal for each one of those audiences. We are, regularly employing tactics. We do use, I guess it's called meta business applications now. We use that where we can schedule posts for both Facebook and for Instagram, and that helps us. It's also free. We don't have to pay for that. We did look into, like Hootsuite and things like that, but it was just a little bit more bite than we were willing to chunk out of a pretty slim budget. So that's why, hence my question is, does that app cost anything? And so that business app also kind of tracks and helps us kind of keep up to date on where we're at. I'd like Karen to kind of pick up and talk a little bit more about some of our Facebook tactics and how she approaches some of the posts that we do.
Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm Karen Davis, and I do handle most of the Facebook posts. My background is in newspaper journalism, so I sort of follow some of that same idea with our Facebook page. First of all, we have a monthly newsletter that gets emailed out to our entire mailing list. Then 4 of those articles get posted on our website, which you just saw the address in the chat a minute ago. So those are shareable. So once the newsletter comes out, I share one of those a day so that people see those. I also regularly scroll through the websites of our local newspaper, our local business journal. We have other news sites, including, the 3 local TV news stations have their own sites. And we get some really good stories. Like, for example, there was last week, our local chapter of Communities in Schools got a $7 million gift from Mackenzie Scott. Huge story. Obviously, they're over the moon. And that was one of our grantee agencies this past year. So I posted that. And so I try to keep up with what's going on. And if I see something that will link with us, like, for example, March 8th is International Women's Day, I will have a post on that. So I try to pull in that type of thing. I also look at the websites and Facebook pages of our agencies. I do follow them. Also, when I do a post about an agency, I always try to include their hashtag so that connects with their page. I post reports on our events like Grant Award Night no later than the day after, including photos. I go to most events and I take the photos with my phone. They do just fine. And then some of those get posted. If I'm not going to be able to make it, I ask somebody else to do it and to send me the photos, but we try to post it. We also advance our events. Of course, we haven't had as many during the pandemic, but we advance our events. We post the invitation where they can register, link to the registration, and we beat the drum pretty hard on that. And I just do, like I posted, I'm going to post one for Valentine's, saying be a sweetheart and join or renew. We try to do all sorts of things like that to get people involved because this is our recruiting season. And sometimes some of my fellow members let me know. We have members who are on boards of other organizations are connected with some of our grantee agencies, and they let us know. And so I try to do that. And, you know, I always try to drive people to the page in one way or another. I try to post at least a couple of times a week. Sometimes it's more. We also post things like when we, of course, our grant award night is at the end of October every year. And in the week or two preceding that, Sharon helps us with posting the entrance videos of their projects and, you know, things like this that people can see. Another thing that I do is that if it's something that I think, you know, is understandable to the general public, not just our members, I will link it to my page. And we ask our board members and other people to do the same thing, because somebody who's not on our impact Facebook page will see it that way. I may change the intro copy a little bit to explain what impact is, but it's there. This morning, we just posted our annual report, which is a very colorful, not a dry document. And we posted that after it was sent out by email to our list. And we're bringing out a new video later this month, and that's going to be posted to Facebook, among other places. So I just try to keep up with what's going on and try to post things. And in terms of what gets the most likes on Facebook, it tends to be, first of all, is anything to do with an event, which is not surprising. You know, a coverage of an event like Grant Award Night got a big amount of likes. And then after that, then it's every month we do an agency update in the newsletter. So anything, and that gets posted on Facebook, anything that's about our grantee agencies, how their projects are going, that gets a fair amount of hits. And then anything to do, and we also do a member profile every month. And then when that gets posted on Facebook, that gets a good amount of hits. Or if we see something, you know, somewhere else about somebody being honored in some way, and we post that, that gets a lot of hits. So it tends to be things that people, I guess, just really personally connect to, that get the most hits and likes. So that's pretty much it. And of course we have I urge you to look at our Facebook page and check that out. And so today, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.
Another thing that we've started doing this last year, Karen, is that we're trying to do more tagging. So that we draw in whoever we're talking about or whatever agency we're talking about.
Yeah, hashtags. Yeah.
I posted the profile of a member on LinkedIn, and she had a pretty good following. So I tagged her into that post, and I think that helped increase the engagement and reach of that particular post.
Using Facebook or any social media page effectively, like you are, really for us too, has made a huge difference. And I'm wondering if you have other social media channels, and if you tie the messaging like that you're doing on Facebook to any of those also, and how you do that.
Well, it's Instagram, I think.
I think it's the same message, but it just is a different bite out of the same apple. So like for Instagram, I'm still learning Instagram. I mean, I wasn't born with Instagram credentials like my daughter. And I just try, you have to find an image that'll attract attention, because there's so much that goes over the transom. And I think like Chloe said, hashtags are incredibly important. And so, you have to have, they've got to be crisp, clear, readable.
Short.
Short. For Instagram. But on the LinkedIn side, it's more of a business, as you know, is more of a business type of platform. And so here was a member, a fairly new member who, has a pretty good profile on LinkedIn, and it sort of tied it into, meet this member and find out why she decided to join Impact San Antonio, because of its collective generosity giving model. So, just kind of tie it back to our main mission and our main vision. So,
and it's different audiences. I mean, from what has been said, Facebook is often a more mature audience, and Instagram is a younger audience. And then, of course, LinkedIn is, sort of business related. So we've been trying to utilize those to reach the different audiences.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is that is twofold. One is that we're an all volunteer organization, so we do not have a staff load of people sitting around developing these posts. And so being prepared with this kind of digital brand voice and standards when we do get volunteers who are willing to help us, but also the calendar is, I think, really key. And that's one thing that we are really going to focus on this year more, is developing that calendar so that we can kind of be one step ahead instead of sort of scrambling from week to week on things that we're going to post. And so I think we could be more strategic and more deliberate. So
I would just like to add, before we had Chloe joining us, Philanos, we were in the same spot. I mean, behind the 8 ball every week, trying to catch up, or, we were, and it takes time to be able to move a week out, or 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out. So I would just suggest no one should feel badly if they're not there yet, because I think we come to this so organically. So you're just doing a post at a time, and suddenly you need to have 25 things done. So the calendar would be a good next move for that.
You also need larger committees. And I think that we all started our collective giving organizations thinking we needed a big grants committee, a big membership committee, and somebody to do communications. That was the first really, and that's how they all started. But, maybe we need somebody for the website. But now with digital branding, Impact Boston has 10 people on their committee. And I think that is really what people need now. How many do you have? You certainly have the 4 of you, but do you have a larger committee too?
Yes, we do. We have a dedicated volunteer that helps do some updates to our website. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other members besides Karen and myself. And, about 3 of them are working full time. And so they are able to give us time when they can. So, but the 3 of them are really helpful in getting us kind of solidifying this digital strategic digital plan last year. And so it's time for us to re-engage them on different segments of it so that we can, like the calendar, and moving forward.
We have a nice age range on there too, including some younger folks, which is important in social media. So
it's taken Philanos that long to get here. 2.5 years ago, it was just Virginia and I.
Yes, and on that note, I would just like to add that also social media growth takes a lot of time. So you must take it with a lot of patience, like a marathon. Because not because you cannot just make a strategy for 1 month and expect great results after 1 month. No. It takes time. So don't get discouraged if you don't see a lot of engagement likes the first month, the second month, because you need time to grow and for people to find you and follow you and be consistent as well. So that will be just a different tip. Yeah.
Well, in this last year, we've seen the number of people who follow our Facebook thread grow by about 900, just in a year and a half. But it does take patience and persistence, and just keep trying it. But I think your comment about tracking and sharing those results is important too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you all so much for sharing. I really love, like I said, the framework that you've developed. And we're going to be sharing this back out to everyone who participated today. So you'll all have a chance to kind of look further into what Impact San Antonio is doing. So thank you for sharing. And speaking of persistence, now we're going to hear from Diane Perlmutter from Greenville Women's Giving, who, Nancy, if you can change the slide over, if you would, talking about telling your story, particularly around an event. So it's Greenville Women's Giving 16th anniversary. And Diane's going to tell us about not only what this amazing coffee table book that they're developing for their anniversary looks like, but how did you organize? How long did it take to organize to do something like this, which is a big undertaking?
Okay, as everyone said, I'm Diane Perlmutter, Greenville Women Giving in South Carolina. We have always seen communications as an important thing that we're doing. And one of the things we've done is celebrate an anniversary as an opportunity to really talk about yourself, because it sort of gives you permission. We did it at our 10th anniversary. And when it came time for our 15th, one of our co-chairs said, well, why don't we do Sweet 16? So as it turns out, that was a very smart decision because 15 was in the middle of COVID. And now we're celebrating our Sweet 16. And in addition to the many things that we're doing within our meetings, we decided we needed a book. And that book evolved into a coffee table book, hardcover, 80 pages, telling our story from the beginning. What you see on the screen now is the dust jacket, and it's also the first page. That obviously is our slogan, giving collectively, granting strategically, growing a greater Greenville. Inside the book, and Nancy, the next slide, please. The first 10 or so pages tell our history. We have our vision, our mission. We have write-ups about granting, just the philosophy of granting, of education, and of membership. And then the heart of the book, and you can, is 4 pages on each of our years that makes up the Sweet 16. And they're all set up basically the same way. This was our founding year. And in the middle of where, if you could go back for 1 second. Sure. Okay, we always have the year, and then in that place, we have a little symbol of something that's important about that year. That happens to be our logo. Where it says organizing committee, that has evolved to where we show our board every year. And then the page on the right is an article of interest. And now the next page, please. Next slide. On the 4th page in each of these spreads, we list every grant we gave that year, and then we do a call out on one specific grant. I forgot to mention the book is 8.5 by 11 horizontal. So it's pretty dramatic in person, as you can imagine. Next. This is another example. And in this particular case, you can see that our feature is that our founders at that time received an award, a very high honor from our state. Also, though, starting in the 2nd year below the date, we've listed every educational event that we've done in that year. As I said before, the board. And next slide, please. On some pages, we just have a lot of pictures, and it really varies depending on the year. To put this together, we went back to our archives and took pictures that had been taken at earlier events. We found all of the old newsletters that we've done. So if you're doing newsletters, I advise you and have thoughts of doing something at an anniversary to pull it together to have it there. And again, the complete list of grants and also the feature grant. And then finally, next slide, please. This was the last year that we have the full year in the book. And as you can see, Zoom is sort of the feature of this year because it was a year unlike any other year. So how did we go about doing this? We started the project last June and we delivered it to the publisher in December. I worked directly with a graphic designer when we sort of came up with the concept and the pagination throughout. 11 different members helped us write some of the articles, and edited it. Sort of an interesting thing about editing. We did, each of the 11 people read the book when it was final, and we thought we had gotten every edit in the world. And then we got a professional editor to look at the book, and she sent us back 6 pages, single spaced, of things that we hadn't caught or frankly hadn't thought about. She went back and made sure that our approach to every article was consistent, that everything we did matched from year to year, that she went back and checked the formal names of organizations we mentioned to make sure that they also matched up throughout. It was really a joy to put this book together, though I will tell you we've been impacted by all of the supply chain things. Originally, we were going to have to get the book to the publisher 90 days before. That got moved back to 120 days before. But we decided to actually do it 5 months before because we were concerned that even after the book was printed, and that's being done down here in the Southeast, just getting it shipped to us in time. We are printing 650 copies. Every member is receiving a copy of this book, as is every former board member. We're also giving copies of the book to our Historical Society, our History Museum, the Mayor's Office, the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I think that pretty much covers it. It was an undertaking, but a labor of love.
You mind saying how much it costs to print all of that?
Yeah, it's going to work out to be between $25 and $30 a copy. That's because we're doing 650. It started out, our original quote was a little less, but as we refined what we needed and what we wanted, the number of pages and stuff, and the supply chain issues, it'll be just about $25.
It's an amazing labor of love.
Yes, it sure was. Oh, and I will add that we were extremely lucky. One of our members' foundation is underwriting for this for us.
Oh, great. Okay.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Are you able to take each of these sections or pages and have it be like a virtual image or something virtual that you can put on social media?
Yes. In fact, many of the pictures in here have already been on social media. We plan on doing that. The book is being given out. Our annual meeting is in May, and it will be distributed at the annual meeting, at which time, we'll sort of use different pieces of it to go forward.
It's fantastic. I'm sorry if I didn't hear, did you say how many pages it's going to be?
80.
80? Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And Philanos will be mentioned on the page where we talk about our affiliations. For us, our affiliations are the Community Foundation, of which we are a special initiative, Philanos, and then a group called Greenville Partnership for Philanthropy. And we're also dedicating this book to our 3 founders and the head of the Community Foundation of Greenville, who brought our 3 founders together.
That's really wonderful.
Wonderful.
We can't wait to hear what the reaction is from your membership and the community in May when you have your Sweet 16 party.
Yeah, well, we think it'll be good. Oh, and by the way, we're going to give you Philanos a couple of copies too.
I was going to ask if we could have one.
Yes, good.
You're already on our list.
Thank
you.
And I asked Maggie if she wants to add anything. Is Maggie Glasgow still there? I see.
Yeah, I'm still here. I got to be one of Diane's editors, so I feel like I've had a little touch on the baby, not maybe one little hold in one little place, but this has really been something Diane has done. And from the ideas at the beginning and some of the early drafts she was working with, what she has finally come up with is just, it's just stunning. And you're seeing something that very few people in our organization have seen, and certainly our members won't see until May. So it'll be fun to see their reaction when they pick them up off the table in May.
Wow.
But kudos to Diane for just
Kudos to you.
sticking with this and getting everybody to put parts together.
Mhm.
Maggie, does your membership know these are coming, or is it a surprise?
They know they know there's going to be a book about the history of the organization. They don't know that it's going to be a big coffee table 4-color book.
Okay. Wow.
It's an amazing way to both organize kind of the history of the circle, but also to tell your story to everybody who's been involved and to all who will be involved in the future and the community.
Mhm.
And a permanent record.
Yeah. Can't wait to see it. Well, thanks so much for sharing today.
My pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
Nance, do you want to move to the next slide?
Yep.
We have one of our affiliates, Women Helping Women Fund in Spokane, and I believe nobody from the organization is joining us today. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, but we're so glad they shared, because again, we put the word out about if you have any work you're doing or anything you want to share, please do so. So again, here's a slide about the Women Helping Women Fund. So they're obviously telling their story with snippets of what they're doing from a marketing and communications perspective. And Nancy, if you can go to the next slide, please. Two of the things that they wanted to share is one that they're using a software called Gratavid to collect and send personalized videos. So it's for either donor thank yous, or you can see here like member touches, a birthday, anniversary, which seems really cool, using this sort of software to tell your story and invite engagement from your donors and others. And then Nancy, if you could please move to the next slide. They're also, from a marketing perspective, looking like we're all talking about at the calendar ahead and where there's opportunity to tell our story in a variety of ways. And they're doing that for International Women's Day, but then doing something throughout the entire week. So you can see here the different bullet points. They're having a proclamation reading. They're having kind of decorated area of their riverfront park. They're having lighting at the pavilion in Spokane, purple t-shirts, things like that. So they're engaged in the Women Helping Women Week from a Giving Circle perspective. So it was great of them to share. Nancy, is there anything that you can add, or Virginia or Maggie, about Women Helping Women?
No, just that they wanted to share and kind of support our workshop. They were Heather Hamlin, their executive director, was double booked, so she said, "Here's some slides. I wish I could be there, but at least here's some information about what we're doing." Because we did ask, what is everybody doing for International Women's Day? Are we thinking ahead? And as Chloe has said, the tools and getting us to where we are today took a year. A year ago, we were going, oh my God, today's International Women's Day. What should we do? And so one other thing to add to, on ClickUp, we have 3 different calendars, 3 different folders in ClickUp. So the screenshot earlier was just our social media. And then Chloe created another calendar with dates like this, themed events, and just an overall calendar for the year that we can be looking out further ahead and decide where things, some of the things don't really involve us or aren't of interest, but it's out there. So depending on what's going on in the world, all of a sudden, maybe something will have a new interest for us that we should post or take advantage of. So those calendars, having that stuff out that we can look forward to and has really helped us get organized.
I'm going to segue off that, Nancy, into something else about Spokane's group, Women Helping Women. They have been very active on social media, and I think I follow almost all the affiliates on Facebook, but they have been very active in using their social media for special donation drives, just almost monthly kind of things where they do either something extra for a grantee or something that's going on in the community. And they're raising extra money outside their grant cycle for these things. And so it's an interesting thought. A lot of giving circles are very set on how they give and what they do. But if you would look at their social media sometime, you can see that they have taken that idea of being a place where you can crowd fund, so to speak, and they're using their circle for that.
That's great. I love their logo.
Mhm.
Great. Okay, well, we're getting to the end of our time, so I think we'll run through our final set of slides. And this is my giving circle, the Women's Giving Circle of Howard County in Maryland. Again, we're in between DC and Baltimore. And we are celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. So in terms of what Greenville Women's Giving Circle is doing, or Greenville Women's Giving, with sweet 16 birthdays. We've been planning for 2 years for our 20th anniversary year this year. At a very basic level, we've developed, our logo was just that circle that you see. And what we added was the 2 and then the celebrating 20 years. So we have a new logo that we're putting on everything this year, kind of building off our other logo, but we developed a brand kit to kind of enhance our color scheme for a special 20th anniversary kind of look and feel. Oh, there we go. So this is just a, whoa. Sorry. There we go. This is just a quick look at how we've incorporated the new look and feel for our 20th anniversary throughout the entire year into everything. So it's not just our logo and the color scheme. This is the invitation for our upcoming annual celebration, which is a virtual, sadly, because of COVID, but it is a 2-part 20th anniversary celebration. We're hoping to do a pink party in the park this summer to do more of the celebratory aspect, but this is going to be this May on International Women's Day. And so we've incorporated the look and feel into that. This looks like it's a little bit of a different color, but it's not. But this is the homepage of our website. And you can see we've incorporated it there as well. And this is, we're celebrating, well, we have sponsors for our entire 20th anniversary year. And so the look and feel has been incorporated into our sponsor list as well, which we're promoting like crazy. We also have incorporated the look and feel into all of our marketing communications to try to tell our story throughout the entire year. So this is just an example of an infographic that we've done called 20 Years of Impact, or 20 Years by the Numbers. And we're using that. It's on our website and in a variety of places. Another aspect of our 20th anniversary year is a new report that's actually we're announcing at our annual celebration in a few weeks, but it's the state of women and girls in Howard County. And it's its own separate website. It's going to be a living, virtual, breathing document with data about women and girls in our county, but we've incorporated the look and feel and the brand colors into that as well. And we, just like it looks like Women Helping Women in Spokane are doing, we are using a software called Tribute, which some of you may have used it before. I've had people ask me to do a video for someone's birthday or, something like that. We're using it for our members and community members and partners and nonprofit grantees to do a tribute to the Women's Giving Circle's 20th anniversary. And so we're utilizing this in a variety of ways. We're going to have a collage of people kind of giving a tribute to the Women's Giving Circle at the start of our virtual annual celebration, but each of these are separate video clips we're going to use throughout the year on social media. And so you can see a little bit of, this is an example. Sorry, there's a delay here, so I keep going, hitting this. Nancy, are you able to move that back, or do I have control?
You have control. There is a lag though. So and you might right left arrows instead of your mouse. Might be more responsive.
There we go. Sorry about that, everyone. This is just 6 of, I think, 35 we have so far of women and, some of the young girls who've gone through some of the programs that we funded, talking about their experience with the Women's Giving Circle. And again, it's called Tribute, which is an amazing software. Much like Greenville Women's Giving doing a coffee table book, we're doing the same thing, but it's virtual. It's not really a book. It's a website, and it is called 20 Years, 20 Stories. So we've had to do a lot of organizing and planning. I know, like you did with the book, to think through what are the 20 ways that we can tell the story of our circle for the past 20 years. And we're talking about all our work, but we're centering it on the women or woman or girls who are part of the story we're trying to tell. So on this website, you can click on each of these photos and get to a story that you can read. And so it's virtual, and we'll be able to utilize that throughout the year. We're announcing that in March at our annual celebration. And this telling our story and organizing and kind of centering our grantees, centering our donors, we're building on what we've been developing for the last couple of years about telling the story of our work and about philanthropy and about women in our community. So we've had something for the last 2 years called Our Giving Our Stories, and it started with Black Philanthropy Month 2 years ago. We had a story about women philanthropists in our community every single day for Black Philanthropy Month. We did it in 2020, and we did it last year as well. And it's all on our website, and you can click on each of these and get to a profile story about women and why they give. So we built on that, and we decided to expand it last year beyond Black Philanthropy Month to do one profile a month of women and connect it to that calendar that we're all talking about. So it's Disability Awareness Month, or, it's things like that, and about women who are doing really cool things in our community. And so that's also on our website. You can click on each one of those. And then finally, we built on telling the story and centering women and philanthropy in the community through something called our Shiro Mosaic. And it's a virtual interactive kind of mosaic of over 500 women in our community, and each one was nominated by someone and developed their own profile. I'm going to put it here in the chat, and it will forever live on our website, but it's a really cool kind of mosaic of women in the community telling the story about why they give. And so I just mentioned those quickly because we built on the organizing we've done about telling our story for our 20th anniversary. And so I just wanted to, I know we're getting close to the end of our time, but this will all be available to everybody, but we also want to see if anyone had any final questions, anything you wanted to share about the work.
Just really quickly on the website about the state of women and girls, who is compiling that information for you?
We have 2 researchers that we've hired in our community to do the work. And so we're starting with baseline data that a lot of it's coming from census data, from our nonprofit partners, from our Women's Commission. And I'll just say that the Maryland Women's Commission came out with a report last spring, and we've decided to mirror that report in many ways for Howard County. And we got funding from some of our donors, and we also got funding from a donor to work with all the other counties in Maryland, hoping they'll use it as a kit to work with their Women's Commission and mirror the Maryland report as well.
Wonderful. Well, our 20th is coming up, I believe, in 2 years. And so will give us some ideas. You've done a great job.
Oh, thank you. Well,
I have a question. My name is Nina. I'm from SOS in St. Louis. We have a 15th anniversary coming up. Has Philanos thought about keeping let's call it a reference page, communication reference page with links to some of these wonderful examples for other affiliates that are having anniversaries and are looking for ideas?
It's a great question.
Great
Maggie,
idea.
weren't you just talking about this?
Yes, I was. They are reworking the website to have a much more robust set of library resources for our affiliates. And I think that will be taking place over the year. I know we have some things in communications on our website, but it is hard because people have to either come to our webinars or come come and get copies of things that have been presented this way. Yes, we're working on it and it's going to be great, I hope.
Well, good. This is inspiring. I actually have a communication committee meeting at 12, so I'm gonna share some of these ideas with my
Great.
committee.
Yeah.
That's great, Nina. Well, that's exactly what we hope to have accomplished in these meetings that we're doing. So thank you everyone for your work and your effort and your sharing. And don't hesitate to call each other directly or contact each other directly, but be sure in order to do that, that you're listed in the directory, the membership directory of Philanos, so that your contact info is right there. Should you have any questions later, don't hesitate to contact any of us